Columbus knocking on the door of the St. Paul's end zone. And Ratliff waiting for the snap. Here's the snap. It's handed off to Melvin up the middle. And he's in for the score.
And it's touchdown, I believe.
In for the score.
Yep,
touchdown.
So there's now 27-12. East Columbus in the lead.
And for those of you that are just joining us, it's not the third quarter. It's 1:49 left to go in the first quarter. And the two teams have put up a combined total of 39 points in the first quarter. So East Columbus now set for the kick after the touchdown. Derek Young on the hold. Ball is up. And it's good.
It's good. Now it's 28-12. East Columbus in the lead. 1:49 seconds left in the first quarter. And now the kicking team for East Columbus with kicker Martin Lamas will be going out on the field, and St. Paul's kick return team will be coming out on the field. Now let's see what happens here. If they get a fumble recovery or what. I would love to see another fumble recovery.
And that was a big offensive series because St. Paul's had a big play, scored a quick touchdown to answer the two defensive touchdowns scored by East Columbus. East Columbus comes right back with their offense, what they've done all year, Coach Cassell's team, drive the football, big plays, short plays, consistent blocking up front, and basically drove the football down for the score. So we're seeing two excellent offenses here tonight. And
update on
it's
Choice Spalding.
Kind of fun to watch, too.
Update on Choice Spalding. He is not going to be in the game.
Yeah, I think they're taking him to be looked at. He's okay, but it looks like he's got a lower leg injury. So here's the kick now. And this time it's a deeper kick, and it's taken there by Malik Livingston up the middle. Now he's going to go over the right side. He's got a wall, and the wall broke down.
And he is drilled at the 35-yard line. That was a nice hit by East Columbus.
Yep. Number 53, Cameron Little, knocked Livingston out of bounds over here on the right side after a decent return. Could not quite get the corner turned, and St. Paul's now 1st and 10 on their own 35-yard line, trailing 28-12 with 1:41 in the first quarter left to go.
So let's see what they got planned on here. 1:41 seconds left in the first quarter.
And Kane Banner now in the shotgun, and he's got Sean Williams in the backfield with him, and we've got a whistle.
It looks like,
let's see what the call is. Looks like we have an equipment issue for East Columbus. And it's a good job by the officials to see that equipment issue and stop play. So
it comes St. Paul's in the shotgun.
Here's the snap, and it's a quick handoff there to Sean Williams, who's met in the backfield immediately
and
by a
he
host
is
of Gators.
drilled for a loss, a 2-yard loss. No, he was stuck. I got to admit that. He was stuck.
All right, so big loss on the play of 5 yards. Going to bring up 2nd and 15. St. Paul's now with Kane Banner waiting for the snap, and we've got split left, flanker right. Here's the snap. It's going to be a drop back pass out into the flats and a little high.
They were lucky that there was not a defensive backman there, because that would have been another defensive touchdown right there.
Javon Crawford was in position. Kane Banner's pass was just a little high. On target, but just a little high. So
it looks like St. Paul's will be in shotgun formation with 3 wide receivers.
And it's a pass. He's got 4 out into the backfield, and he's going to have to get out to the left. And he's being chased there by L.J. Little, and he is down.
Oh, wait. And
the football is loose. The football is loose, and he was down. He was down. So big loss on the play. It's going to bring up now 3rd, and we'll just call it a country mile. It's 3rd and around. I don't even know if I can count that.
It's on the 20-yard line.
Yeah, it's 3rd and around 35. Got a quick score for you here. Those of you listening and watching, at the end of the first period, we have East Bladen 7, South Columbus 0. Also, North Brunswick leading South Brunswick 6-0. So lots of important games going on here tonight.
Especially that South Columbus
And check that.
game.
I apologize. That was 4th down.
4th down.
And it looks like
a punt team's coming out.
Well, it looks like that they have given the football to East Columbus. So we saw an initial call that the ball was down. They conferred, and they gave the football to East Columbus on the play. So East Columbus now 1st and 10 on the 17-yard line of St. Paul's, and we've seen the turnovers really hurt the Bulldogs tonight, really slow them down. Anytime you can keep the football out of Kane Banner and Sean Williams' hand, you're better off. So here we are with Ratliff waiting for the snap.
In shotgun formation, 2 backs, and he's handed off to...
There's Greg Melvin around the left end. He's got a little bit of room, and check that. That was Taryn Manning. Taryn Manning around the left end.
He got about a 5-yard gain.
And he was tackled there by David Inman on the play, but nice gain around the left end.
Check that. It's about a 10-yard gain, so it's now 1st down again.
I believe we got just a little bit short, second, and we'll call it 2nd and 1 there. But the ball is on the inside of the 10-yard line of St. Paul's. East Columbus driving now, leading 28-12, still in the first quarter. And there's Nick McClure up the middle, and he is
good.
Nick McClure with the score.
For now it is I believe 34.
It is now 34-12 in the first quarter. East Columbus leading the St. Paul's Bulldogs.
With 7 seconds left in the first quarter. Now all they need... So it looks like they're going for a field goal try. Derek Young and Martin Lamas about to kick off.
Good hold by Young. It's up. Over to the left, and it's no good.
No good. 34. East Columbus leading 34-12. And is now they're down by 22 points.
So we have seen 47 points here in the first quarter, Justin. And if you like offense and you like defense, this has been a great game for you.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that both offenses have moved the football. St. Paul's, you can tell, obviously very well coached, very well disciplined. Turnovers, though, it doesn't matter if it's Pee-wee or pro. Turnovers typically determine the outcome of the game. Not always, but we've had 3 big turnovers here by St. Paul's, and it's really helped the Gators. And the Gators have taken advantage each time by scoring a touchdown. Two on defense and 1 just now on offense. So
that's what I like about sports these days. It's about discipline these days and respect. And Martin Lamas about to kick off.
And Malik Livingston is back deep to receive, and let's see if he gets a chance to get his hands on the football. We've seen his speed, and now it's a looping kick. It's going to be taken over on by number 32 there. That's Jamel Leonard.
Let's see if we got no defensive recovery for a touchdown this time.
So return there back to the 36-yard line of St. Paul. St. Paul's taking over now 1st and 10, and we're going to have a change of. Well, the first quarter is still not over, Justin. We've got 3 seconds left to go here in the first quarter.
This is about to get good.
And St. Paul's with the football, 1st and 10 on their 36-yard line. St. Paul's trailing 12-34 East Columbus with a big lead thanks to some turnovers by St. Paul's.
This is what surprised me most is East Columbus' defense this game.
Played very well, and we've seen them play very well in the past, and they're definitely holding St. Paul's very well here in the first quarter. Sean Williams taking the football around left side, and he is met immediately by a host of Gators led by Taryn Manning on that right side. And
they got about a 1-yard pickup, or he was tackled back to the line of scrimmage.
We'll see where they mark it. It's going to be
1 yard.
Yeah, a very small gain.
So it's now 2nd and a long 9 yards.
And we've got a player down for East Columbus. Looks like they're going to pay some attention to him. And while they're doing that, I just want to share with you a few things about St. Paul's year so far. Of course, their first game they lost 70-48 to Grays Creek. Came back against Fayetteville Christian with a win 58-40. Beat Southern Lee 42-14. Then scored 76 points against West Bladen, won 76-45. Won against Harold's Christian 42-22. Beat East Carteret 68-12. Lost to Red Springs 48-20. Of course, East Columbus played Red Springs to a very close game last week and was driving when a last-second interception happened. and beat South Robinson 42-14. So St. Paul's has had a very high-scoring offense, a very potent offense, and like we've mentioned before, scored almost 400 points in 8 games.
If I had to pick a team or one team for one of these two to beat, go against at a playoff,
and
it would be a South Columbus game between these two.
I think it would be very interesting, and as both of those teams, South Columbus and East Columbus, has continued to develop, that would be a very interesting game. Of course, it's not going to happen because they are actually in different conferences and different classifications, but we've had, and then last week West Columbus had a very big win against Fairmont to position them to possibly do well in the conference. So we talked a little bit about St. Paul's and talked a little bit about their passing game. Just wanted to share with you a few things here, Justin. They have passed for 261 yards against Southern Lee. They passed for 237 against Grays Creek. Passed for 158 against Red Springs. So we know that they can throw the football, and they have a deep threat. And any time you can throw the football and throw the football well, like St. Paul's can, 22 points is not necessarily a big lead.
I might not be a coach, but when I hear those big numbers from passing yards, that just puts my grin ear to ear. I like those big passing yards, and I also love them big rushing yards.
Got a few scores now. We're waiting here, injury timeout. We've got West Columbus leading South Robinson 6-0. We talked about that big victory last week against Fairmont, 32-30 that West Columbus pulled out.
Parents are coming out. It was number 99 for West Columbus, Caleb Edgell.
Educator number 99, Cal Eldridge.
East Columbus player coming off, got a lower leg injury, but I think he's appears to be okay otherwise.
That's 2 injuries they've had so far, but East Columbus, I know how resilient they are.
And Justin, I do have a few scores for you. West Columbus, we said leading South Rob 6-0. East Bladen leading South Columbus 21-0.
West Columbus 6, South Robinson 0.
They're leading South Columbus?
Yep.
My goodness.
So
I'm surprised for once that someone's actually leading South Columbus 21-0. I have.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eye on that game as well. All right, so back to the field now, and we've got St. Paul's with the football, and that's Kane Banner waiting for the snap, and
it looks like we are going to see a really good game in the second quarter. It is still 34-12, and East Columbus is leading.
Kane Banner fakes the handoff over the right side,
and the defense read that right there.
Met immediately there by Brandon Freeman. Nice play there by the left side of the defensive line, led by Brandon Freeman. And we are looking now at third and 7 yards to go. St. Paul's.
A long 7 yards.
With the football on their own 39-yard line, trailing 34-12 to East Columbus. Banner in the backfield in the shotgun. He's got Williams back there with him. We've got spread right, split left. It's going to be a drop-back pass. And he's got a man open there. It's Deion Gilchrist, and he is taken down immediately, short of the first down, there by Greg Melvin.
I saw number 15, Jimmy Roos, for East Columbus, about to jump a little bit early, but he knew that if he did, he's about to get chewed out by one of his coaches.
Okay, Justin, this is a big play here. We've got 4th and 1. St. Paul's now with the football on their own 45-yard line. Big play here.
What'd I do?
Let's see. What would you do?
I'd do a passing play. If they don't have nobody open, you go ahead and run for it. That's what I do.
Well, we've seen Kane Banner definitely has options when he gets outside the end. So let's see what happens here now. Banner, 4th and 1. St. Paul's looking for a play here. He's hands off to Williams, and he's up the middle for the first down.
You can do that too. Now he's got a 1st and 10.
So St. Paul's moving the football a little bit now.
So it's now at the 49-yard line. 10 minutes and 43 seconds left. 34-12 in the second quarter.
And, Justin, a very exciting game. Very exciting game we've got. And St. Paul's now moving the football just on the other side of midfield, their own 49-yard line. And Banner and Williams in the backfield. We got spread left, split right, and there goes Williams around the right end. He's got a little bit of room, and he's quickly taken down for no gain. So the corner and linebacker on that side read it perfectly, came up, kept contained, and ran Williams out of bounds.
It looks like number 30 for East Columbus, Isaiah Day. He took a little hit, but he's all right. He's not injured. He's got hitting the stomach one good time. I know how that feels, trust me.
And here we go, second now, and we'll call it 8. Kane Banner in the shotgun for St. Paul's, and we've got Sean Williams in the backfield, 2 wide receivers to his left, 1 to the right. And
they saw a false start like I did.
I believe we had offsides on East Columbus.
Marchment.
And it seems like St. Paul's, and again, we've seen this a lot. We've seen many teams who are out of that shotgun, that fast pace, you're running, you're trying to get on the defense, you're trying to get established, and then they'll do a quick count and try to draw you off sides. And we've seen that attempted several times, but this is the first time it's worked. So now 2nd and 5 for St. Paul's. And here's the handoff there to Williams, and he's going around right side, twist for the first down. So St. Paul's will have the first down now on the East Columbus 38-yard line.
St. Paul's looks like they got an injured player on the field now. It's number 10, I believe. And that would be Xavier Dunning for St. Paul's is now injured. I think he took a big hit. Either had a head-to-head collision, I believe, or shoulder.
And while we're waiting here for the injury timeout, let's talk a little bit more about some of the things we've been talking about statistic-wise, Justin. And I think we've talked a lot about St. Paul's and the success they've had throwing and running the football. Let's talk a little bit about East Columbus this year. Of course, the first game of the season, they lost a tough game, 27-16 to South Columbus.
Yeah.
Rebounded with a big win against East Bladen, 18-0. Beat North Brunswick 20-6. Beat Whiteville 28-8 the next week. Lost a very close game to Southwest Onslow, perennial powerhouse down in Onslow County. And then lost another close game to Anson County in Wadesboro, 27-20. Beat West Columbus 46-8, and then had a very tough game against Red Springs, again driving.
Definitely.
And had a unfortunate play there right towards the end of the game. They had a shot to tie or possibly win the game there. So,
I mean, that's a good game. They can fight to hold their ground. I mean, East Columbus and South Columbus and West, all 3 of those are rivals. They've been rivals since they've all met each other.
So, I also do have another score for you, Justin. South Robinson now 6-0 behind West Columbus at the half. So West Columbus over South Robinson 6-0 at the half.
Okay, West Columbus actually winning another game.
Yep. So, and being a coach, I can tell you, the years I coached, it's amazing what a win can do for you.
Definitely.
Football is such an emotional game, and it's a game that feeds a lot on the success you've had the previous week. So, very big win for West Columbus, and see how they do against South Robinson. That would be another big win for them again. That would position them to do very well in the conference.
When I look at all the sports, I could tell right now that all sports are emotional. I mean, myself as an athlete, I'm a martial artist. I can get pretty emotional. You can be having a Karate Kid moment in a sparring match or something. In football, playoff, you got that 1 second, like the Super Bowl last year, New York Giants versus New England Patriots. Now, they did not stop that They didn't get that interception that the Giants didn't get. They wouldn't have won. So in basketball, it was close between like Miami and Oklahoma City Thunder. And the playoffs for Major League Baseball, that's still to be determined of who's winning that one.
So still waiting on the injury to a St. Paul's player.
It looks like he just took a big hit, and he's like.
And we'll check that. We've got that number. It's Kendall Lowry Ivy for St. Paul's, and he's okay. He's walking off on his own, so he's going to be fine there, and certainly wish him the best. So now we've got 9:50 left in the second quarter. East Columbus up 34-12, and St. Paul's driving. Justin.
It is on the 39-yard line. St. Paul's with the ball. Now let's see what they have next.
And here we go with Kane Banner. Looks like he's checking off. Actually, he's dropping back now into the shotgun. And we've got Sean Williams, single back set, been with him all night. And we've got spread left, split right, 3 wide receivers. And here's the snap. And it's a quick handoff to Sean Williams up the middle, and he is met immediately by the middle of
and
the
he's still
line.
fighting, and he brought down for at a 3-yard gain. So it is now, no, excuse me, to check that 2-yard gain. So it's now 37, on 37, so it's going to be third and at least third down, I believe.
Check that. It'll be 2nd and 8 on that. So
okay.
South Robinson working off a fresh set of downs. Now it's 2nd down. And they're in the base formation, which is shotgun single back set and 3 wide receivers. And here's Banner over to the left. He cuts up the middle, gets a good block, and close to the first down.
That's probably a third and a long 2, maybe short 1.
It's going to be close, right? I think they marked him back a little bit further. And let's see. They may want to measure. No, they're going to call it 3rd and 1. Now, so call coming in for St. Paul's. And
looks like he is in the shotgun formation. 2 wide receivers, 1 split back.
And it's a quick handoff to Williams up the middle. And he's got the first down and a little bit more. It's tough going there, though.
Every time I hear that name Williams, I'm thinking of D'Angelo Williams from Carolina Panthers. But he's doing a pretty good job. If he keeps on going and getting his speed up, if he keeps on going to what he wants to do and playing football, if that's what he wants to do, Sean Williams, he could be in the league for professional.
It looks like we have another injured player now. For St. Paul's.
Hey, try to get up, but
and we'll wait to get a clear number there for you. So we've had some injuries, and I do have to think as a player and a coach, when you have these cool nights, especially the first time you've had them, and this is really the first, I'd say, cool night we've had playing football this year. It does affect, especially muscles, pulls, and things like that. It can also affect, of course, ankles and things like that depend on the muscles to hold them in place. So I think that could have something to do with the injuries that we're seeing here, a lot of leg injuries. And Coach Trey Sasser is coming out from St. Paul's to take a look at his player, and I think they're looking at a lower leg injury.
I'm thinking of a leg cramp. I mean, it looked like a leg cramp to me. But they got in checkup on number 99 for East Columbus, Caleb Agel. He's got his knee taped up, and I'm not sure if they're going to get a truck to come get him up or not.
And so just want to mention, now that we've got another break here, we've got 8:16 left to go in the second quarter. East Columbus leading now 34-12. They have scored 2 defensive touchdowns back-to-back on back-to-back plays from back-to-back plays. They have scored. So they have definitely utilized and taken advantage of the turnovers that St. Paul's has suffered. And now we have player for St. Paul's is now up, and it looks like we have a lower leg injury, and that is number 55, Michael Freeman, walking off under his own power. Looks like he's going to be okay, but he does have a lower leg injury there. But one thing that we'll talk about here as the teams are coming back out, this cool weather we talked about in the beginning, it does allow for players to not have to hydrate as much. You should have the ability to play a little longer because you're not losing as many fluids, but it can cause the pulls and some of the injuries that I think we're seeing tonight. So,
and what it could do is have you a little. I know you can help. Cold weather get your leg cramped up easily.
Yeah. So now St. Paul's back on 25-yard line of East Columbus, taking the snap there, and that is Banner going to take the football and run over to the left on a boot.
At least 1 yard gain.
And he is tackled immediately there by Jalen Dumas, and he is brought down. I think they're going to mark it now a fairly big loss, 4-yard loss. It's going to bring up 2nd and 14 now. And that was a boot by Kane Banner, and I think they were depending on his speed to get outside of Jalen Dumas, and Jalen Dumas contain. And
so Kane Banner is going to be in the shotgun position with Sean Williams as a split back. Snap, and he's going to throw it.
Right. And he's got a man open.
Open number 5.
Caught there. That's Malik Livingston. He's got the football and inside the 10-yard line.
Status update on Caleb Agel. He is going to be picked up by a truck and taken to where he can get medical attention. And I think he might be put out from the game. So we've got 2 injured players for East Columbus with leg injuries, which is still okay. And we know how resilient East Columbus can be.
And on that play, that was Kane Banner to Malik Livingston for a big gain and a first down. That brings up 1st and goal for St. Paul's. Kane Banner in the shotgun, hands off to Williams, and he is met immediately
at the line of scrimmage.
Met immediately by the left side of the defensive line.
And apparently we got another injured player for East Columbus. Took one hit to the abdomen. Number 11, Henry Baldwin, took one hit to the abdomen area. But he's still walking
he's okay.
off.
He's going to stay in the game. So St. Paul's waiting for the play to come in from the sideline. Coach Trey Sasser's Bulldogs driving now inside the 10-yard line. It is 2nd and goal. Now with Kane Banner waiting on the shotgun snap, with Williams in the backfield, 3 wide receivers, and it looks like it's going to be a pitch, and the ball is on the ground and almost picked up there by Kane Banner, recovers the football, and I thought that Greg Melvin was gone for 6. Kane Banner was able to get on the football, and that's going to bring up a big 3rd and goal now from the 24-yard line. 23-yard line, check that.
When I saw that fumble, I was like, come on, East Columbus, get that ball, get that ball.
I thought we were going to see a third.
I was about to see a third touchdown for defense.
Okay, St. Paul's now needing to gain some yards. They're 3rd and goal and 23 yards away from the end zone. And Kane Banner now looking like he's got trips to the right, 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 wide receiver to the left, and he's going to drop back. He's rolling to his right, and it's a pass out into the flats, a short gain.
And he is tackled.
Deion Gilchrist caught the football and is hit immediately there by Greg Melvin.
For a 2-yard gain, I believe.
And now this brings up 4th and 19. And my good friend Franklin Davis over at WTXY gave us some statistics on St. Paul's. They have kicked one field goal this year. But I think Coach Trey Sasser is going to go for it now. And it is 4th and goal from the 19-yard line of East Columbus, 19 yards away from the score. St. Paul's trailing East Columbus 34-12, 5:12 left here in the first quarter. And there is Banner rolling out to his left, and he is in trouble. He throws it up in the air, and it is almost intercepted.
That was almost interception. Another defensive touchdown, closely.
And then almost on the tip caught by St. Paul. So
here comes the offense for East Columbus with Ricky Ratliff, the quarterback, and on health update on his brother Ronald Ratliff. He will not be playing any more of the season. He has not played none of the season because of an injury he had in the car wreck. But we will see him in basketball season.
All right, so East Columbus taking over on downs, and with a 34-12 lead with 5:03 left now in the first half. Ratliff comes out with Taryn Manning, and Nick McClure is going to give it to McClure. McClure gets a block by Manning and gets outside, gets another block, and then cut down after a short gain.
That was close. If he had another blocker there, he would have went all the way.
Short gain there.
At least 2-yard gain, I believe.
2-yard gain, and East Columbus, of course, both these teams, we haven't spoken about this, going no huddle, which, again, makes it hard on the defenses to keep up and for defensive coaches to get their players in the right position to counter whatever the offense is doing. So looks like we're waiting here on the officials. Okay, they're turning them loose now. And Ratliff taking the snap. It's going to be a handoff there to number 8, Taryn Manning, and he is up the middle fighting for yardage. It's going to be a short game.
It looks like Ricky Ratliff and number 34 for East Columbus, Nick McClure, had a little confusion going on there. He thought Ricky Ratliff had the ball, was going to give it to McClure, but that little confusion was solved.
So 3rd down now, and East Columbus has got to be thinking about a first down because you don't want to have to punt this deep in your territory. They're on their own 24-yard line.
You need to go for a pass, not a run, Ricky. Go for a pass.
And there's Ricky Ratliff back in the shotgun. I think they're working the clock a little bit. Ratliff takes the high snap and then gives it off to Nick McClure.
They read it.
And he's brought down after a short gain. So 4th down now for East Columbus, and we'll see what Coach Toby Cassell wants to do. It looks like he's sending out the punt team.
The punt team. Here comes their punt team for East Columbus, going to punt off at number 32 For St. Paul's, that will be
Jamel Leonard
will be receiving the punt
with Malik Livingston
beside him for blocking or receiving one. And snap the ball. Punt.
It's a good kick.
Good punt.
And it's not going to be returned. But not going to be returned. It looks like there was a little bit of action around the ball, and of course the ball is not live unless it's touched by a returning team player. So not touched by St. Paul's. It's down by East Columbus. St. Paul's has the football now. 1st and 10 on their own 36-yard line.
And then this is going to be a little. They're in their own territory. If East Columbus can push them back and get the safety, then they'll be good.
And of course, St. Paul's trailing. East Columbus leading now 34-12. And we've got trips left. We have 3 wide receivers to the left now. We've got one up to the top on the visitor side, and Sean Williams and Kane Banner in the backfield. It goes to Williams. He's going to try to get outside.
And he's down. And we see a foul.
Flag down. He's knocked out of bounds there.
I believe that was holding.
Yeah, and he's knocked out of bounds there by John Mitchell.
I believe we got holding on number 7.
Yeah, we're going to look at holding or perhaps a block in the back. We're going to see officials are talking, and they won't talk long. So it must have been pretty clear cut. Let's wait for the call from the referee.
So we got 2 minutes and 36 seconds left in the second quarter. Then we're going to go to halftime. So it's now 34 for East Columbus and 12 for St. Paul's.
And it is holding. That's going to back up St. Paul's 10 yards from the spot.
Oh, excuse me. I was wrong. He's holding against the Bulldogs.
Yep. And so we're looking at 1st and we'll call it 20. It'll be probably a little shorter than that. Ball is spotted on the 25-yard line. And St. Paul's now 1st and 20. They have to go to the 41-yard line to get a first down, 42-yard line to get a first down. So out comes St. Paul's, and they've got 4 wide receivers with 1 back set now. Of course, still in the shotgun with Kane Banner running the offense with Sean Williams, the single back set. And here's the snap. It's a fake to Williams, and there's the option around right in, and he's trying to get outside, and he's not going to do it.
Even was met at the line of scrimmage.
It's very important on that play that the corner comes up and forces that play inside, and that's exactly what happened on the left side of the defense.
It will now bring up 2nd or 3rd. 3rd and long. 2nd and long. Now, like I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna say 2nd and long or 2nd and country mile. That's all I can say.
That's 2nd and at least 20 after that play, and we've got trips, and it's rolling out to the right, and there's Kane Banner throwing off his back foot. Was getting some pressure up the middle, and pass is.
And there's a flag on the play.
Where that was thrown and how that was thrown, I think we're going to see intentional grounding.
Definitely.
He was in the pocket. There was no one nearby except for the side judge, and he is not an eligible receiver. So I think we're looking at intentional grounding. We'll see. They're talking to East Columbus, and that should be a 5-yard penalty and loss of down. So let's see what the call is. I'm guessing that's what it is, but let's see what the official has to say. It is intentional grounding, and that is a loss of down. And that is going to bring up now 3rd and 25 for St. Paul's. In the shadow of their own goalpost, trailing 34-12. East Columbus is leading 34-12. A minute 54 left here in the half. And St. Paul's needing a big play here to get out of this hole.
So we got a minute and 54 seconds left in the second quarter, 34-12. So it's going to be 3rd and long for St. Paul's, and he's met already at the line of scrimmage.
Williams takes the snap. Williams takes the handoff from Kane Banner, and there is nothing there, and it is 4th and 25 in the punt team for St. Paul's. East Columbus is going to have a chance to get the ball in excellent field position now with about a minute and 30 left in the first half.
Going back to the penalty, when I see teams, I think the most disciplined team is the team that declines penalties. I think they might be. I think they're the most disciplined, and they don't want to be unfair and just give them more funny chance. That's what I say.
Well, here's Malik Livingston kicking the football, and it's
okay. It's a good kick.
It is kicked out of. It looks like it's going to go out of bounds.
Yep, at the 45-yard line, to be exact.
East Columbus 45-yard line.
So we got a minute and 8 seconds left for Ricky Ratliff and the East Columbus Gators to come up with a brilliant play that they're going to make next. So this has been a good first and second quarter.
This has been a good football game. On both sides of the football, East Columbus taking advantage of some breaks, but we've had, folks,
2 defensive recovery touchdowns. I'm surprised.
We have had 46 points scored here in the first half, so between the two teams. Ratliff in the shotgun, waiting with Taryn Manning and Nick McClure, and there goes Derek Young taking the speed sweep in motion. He goes around the right, and he's got a little room. He's got a block out there by McClure, and he is out of bounds.
He's out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
And that is going to be a flag. So we've got a nice gain by Derek Young. I think we're going to have a hit out of bounds, or it's going to be roughing, unnecessary roughness. And there was Derek Young was rode out of bounds, and then there was just an ever so slight shove after the play was over, not shoving him down. And at this level, it is very important that referees stay in control of the game and certainly discipline all players to be sportsmanlike, especially when you get around that sideline. There's so many injuries that can happen. So
definitely so many injuries.
We're looking at East Columbus now deep in St. Paul's territory, and it is a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, and that is going to give East Columbus a first down, and they're still marking off where they're going to put it. It's going to be close to the 10-yard line.
And it will be at the 15-yard line. I've seen, go back to what they sideline problem. I've had some friends that have been knocked out on the sideline. They've hit their heads on concrete. I had friends that got concussions, been paralyzed in football, and football can be serious sometimes.
So here we go now with East Columbus, 1st and 10, with under a minute now, 1:01 now left to go. Ratliff in the shotgun. And he's got, this time, Mac Jenkins in the backfield. Check that. That's Britton Spalding. And the ball goes to Nick McClure, and he is in for the score. Nick McClure scores for the Gators. That's going to make it 40-12, East Columbus.
And 56 seconds left in the second quarter. It will now be 40-12. Let's see what they got next. Is it going to be a kickoff, a field goal, or will it be a 2-point conversion?
And it looks like we've got a tee out there, so it looks like we're going to try the kick after the touchdown here. And this is to make it 41-12.
I would have made it a 2-point conversion.
And low snap. And it is no good.
No good. It was too far out.
Yeah, good job there getting the ball down. I believe that was Derek Young. It may have been Greg Melvin, the holder there, but good job getting that low snap down. So
56 seconds left in the second quarter, about to go to halftime. It will be Martin Lamas kicking off for East Columbus to kick off to St. Paul's. I'd say St. Louis Rams for a second.
So East Columbus now exploding for 40 first half points, leading St. Paul's 40-12. And that is a big lead, but I'll tell you, I did have the opportunity to coach with Trey Sasser. He's a very smart coach. He knows how to motivate his players. They're going to be in at halftime, well, St. Paul's, working on how to come out in the second half and score some points. And one thing that East Columbus will have to do is make sure their players keep the intensity and keep the focus. Because keep in mind now, St. Paul's has scored 40, 50, even more points in a game, so they can explode just like East Columbus has exploded. So that'll be what's in store at halftime. And here we have a kickoff, and it's taken by number 34 there. That is Damian McMillan for St. Paul's, and a nice return there to close to the 45-yard line. And a little bit of time left, and I think 51 seconds, and you have to think at this point, what does St. Paul's do? What does St. Paul's do? And we have a little activity here on the field. What does St. Paul's do to, at this point in the game, do they try to just kneel down, or do they actually try to get some points on the board here? And we talked about again this half how powerful St. Paul's offense is, and I think they're going to line up 5 wide receivers and try to put up the ball in the end zone.
Let's see what they're going to do next. With 51 seconds left in the second quarter, it's 40 for East Columbus Gators and 12 for St. Paul's Bulldogs. It's been a good game for the first half. Let's see what else we got in the last 51 seconds. Because it might be a surprise in this game so far. We might get another defensive recovery touchdown.
Yeah, and we did have a personal foul against East Columbus, and that'll drive coaches crazy. You know, you've got to keep them contained. You've got to keep them from scoring, and now they're going to have a short field to go. They're going to have the ball on the East Columbus 38-yard line. So have a quick score for you. You got Whiteville 15, West Bladen 0.
Whiteville winning against West Bladen doesn't surprise me.
And check that. That is now 36-7 at the half. So, and we've got St. Paul's with the football, 1st and 10. Under a minute left here in the first half on the 38-yard line of East Columbus. East Columbus has exploded here for 40 first half points, leading 40-12. And now Kane Banner in the backfield with Sean Williams, and we do have 4 wide receivers in the set.
Shotgun formation.
Kane Banner takes a snap, 5-step drop, and he throws underneath to Charles Walters and in and out of the hands.
It is incomplete. Like I said earlier, offensive penalties, you can make up for it, but defensive penalties, you can't make up for it. This defensive penalties will make your coaches go insane. You will get chewed up.
And spit out. Here we go. Second and 10 now with Kane Banner waiting for the shotgun snap. 4 wide receivers in the set. Banner drops back 5 steps. He's looking. He's got a man open down the middle, and it is caught
by number 6, which is Charles Walters, for a nice catch for at least 10 yards, I believe, maybe more.
Yeah, Charles Walters' reception now. East Columbus 21-yard line. St. Paul's has the football with 36 seconds left here in the first half.
This game's getting a little bit tense here.
And we got a timeout, I believe, taken by St. Paul's.
I remind everybody that a lot of the East Columbus and St. Paul's players are wearing pink parts of the uniform as a reminder of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'd like to appreciate the person who found a cure, and we can't wait to get in breast cancer and make it in for once.
And, of course, want to remind everyone you are listening on the radio to WZCO 89.9. We are on the air, licensed to Columbus County Schools, but we're under program test authority, which means we're operating at half power. So we hope to be at full power certainly by the end of the year. And if you're watching us or you want to watch us, you can go to WZCO.org, and there are lots of links there for you. You can watch us on YouTube. If you've got a PlayStation or you've got an Xbox that'll do YouTube, you can watch us there. There are also many ways for you to listen. If you're away, you can even dial up and listen on your regular cell phone. So lots of ways here to listen or watch the game. So here we are now. St. Paul's looking to score.
And going for a pass.
Banner's in the backfield, and it's
number
caught.
Caught by number 1.
And he loses the football.
Oh, and he was caught, and he recovered it.
Deion Gilchrist made the reception, and the ball was knocked out. And we do have a flag on the play.
It might be on East Columbus, I believe.
It's typically where you see where it was thrown would be pass interference, looking for a call here. And, of course, the referee is talking to St. Paul's quarterback, Kane Banner, to see what the call is. So whatever the case, the ball is going to be inside the 10-yard line of East Columbus. It's going to be 1st and goal, and our game set here
is 29 seconds left, and East Columbus still 40-12 in the second quarter. And check that. I'm not sure who's being put back. There's a little confusion going on.
It was roughing the passer against East Columbus. That is a personal foul.
That.
So we're going to be looking at
1st and goal, I believe.
Let's see where the ball is spotted. The ball is actually spotted dead on the 10-yard line, and looks like it is. They are going to call it 1st and goal now. So St. Paul's with 29 seconds left to score, and can't underscore here. If they actually get the ball in the end zone, it could be a big boost going into half. So
this is getting kind of tense.
Kane Banner takes the snap. He's back in the backfield. And he throws it, and a little too off the mark for Javon Crawford.
Almost caught by an interception for defense.
Yeah, and so Javon Crawford was lined up in the slot. He took a hard inside what we call a slant pattern, and the timing was just a little bit off. And that play relies on a lot of timing between the quarterback and, in that case, the receiver in the slot. So looking here now, 20 seconds left, Justin, and East Columbus holding tight, 2nd and goal. St. Paul's with the football on the East Columbus 10-yard line.
Let's see what we have here.
And there is Banner with the snap. He's being chased by Taryn Manning, and Taryn Manning is going to bring him down. Oh, and it looks like that's going to be a big loss there.
That's going to be at least 5, maybe 10-yard loss.
That's going to bring up
second and
goal now. I can't tell if they're actually leaving the 10-yard marker. It looks like he's got it up, half down, but anyway, it's the first down is going to be close to the goal line, and the football is going to be on the 23-yard line, 24-yard line of East Columbus. So now you have
11 seconds left and 40 points for East Columbus and 12 points for St. Paul's in the second quarter. This has been a pretty good first half for this game. I admit that, especially with the 2 defensive recovery touchdowns.
And we do have a halftime score for you. We have East Bladen 21, South Columbus 0.
Still?
Yep. And so at halftime, I think we mentioned before, Whiteville 36, West Bladen 7.
I believe it was 0. I'm not sure.
Okay, so a big play here now on 3rd and goal from the 24-yard line of East Columbus. 11 seconds left, and Banner and Williams in the backfield. 4 wide receivers in the set. Banner rolls out to his right. He's getting some pressure now. He steps up and makes the throw, and it is caught. It is caught.
Out of bounds, though.
At the 11-yard line, and that is going to be caught by Charles Walters. Goes out of bounds immediately.
And we have 3 seconds left in the second quarter, ladies and gentlemen, with 40-12.
And it is 4th and goal, but that doesn't really matter as St. Paul's takes a timeout. But 4th and goal. But this is going to be most likely the last play of the first half. So trailing now by 28 points, East Columbus with the lead now. St. Paul's trying to score going into half, and we mentioned it before. It would be a big boost. There's a big difference mentally, strategically, between being 4 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns behind. So this is a big play for both teams right here at the end of the first half.
This is probably going to be a last play. They're either going for a run or a pass. I'm not even sure.
Well, I think if you're Trey Sasser, what you're really thinking about doing is putting your 4 best receivers out in the pattern like we've seen him do during this series. Let Kane Banner roll to his right and try to find someone open. Unfortunately, East Columbus's pressure has made it very difficult for Kane Banner to sit back and throw out of the pocket. So we'll see what happens this time. What will most likely be the last play of the game, last play of the half. But a very important play in the game. Kane Banner now lining up with Sean Williams in the backfield for St. Paul's. And we've got Javon Crawford backs up, and Kane Banner rolls out to the right. He throws back to his left and almost caught off the fingertips of Jacob Locklear.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the first half. 40 for East Columbus and 12 for St. Paul's. Now we are going to halftime.
And I know we got a lot of action going on at halftime. We'll bring you the visual of that. In just a second, I'm going to ask the principal of CCCA, Columbus Career and College Academy, to join me here. And we're going to have a few things to discuss at halftime, and then we're going to be back for what will be, I think, a great second half. And, Justin, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Calling this, and I think we're going to have Ethan Jacobs joined me for the second half, and looking forward to talking with Ethan. And I think we'll be doing another game probably next week, Justin. So
all right, good. It's good seeing y'all.
We're going to let Justin go get on camera, do his thing. So thank you, Justin.
All right.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are here now with principal of CCCA, Mr. Nicky Hobbs. And Mr. Hobbs has been busy tonight. He's been coaching students. He's been technical director. He's been a little bit of everything. And Nicky, how you enjoying this game?
I feel like a jack of all trades and a master of none here lately. It's been busy.
Yeah, it's been a busy night. And for us here, watching two teams that never go into the huddle, it's been very hard. We haven't gotten many breaks either. So
I think it's been an exciting game. With everything going on, trying to, like you said, do the different positions, work with the students, making sure everything's working like it ought to be, and in between trying to watch the game. And it seems like every time that I turn around, there's some exciting play happening, and I'm turning back around to try to see what's going on. But it's been a good night.
Been a good night. Wanted to talk with you a little bit about some of the things going on at CCCA, and wanted you, if you would, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing this week.
All right. Well, first off, we've had a lot of really neat things happening this year at CCCA. Last year was the first year opening the campus over at Fair Bluff, and anytime you start something new, of course, you've got those hurdles you have to get over and trying to initiate and get them off the ground and running. But this year's been exciting in the different areas that we are trying to work with, Kelly, that we can actually say that we're actually doing them. I think they've passed the initial stage and are up and running some. Of course, we're not where we want to be, but we're much closer there. For example, the programming and broadcasting department, as you mentioned, the students here tonight, we've actually had the opportunity to broadcast several games this year, and I've got to say that the students are doing awesome, phenomenal. And we were discussing before the game, that each game you can actually see the progress happening. You can actually see how things are improving. And hopefully for the viewers at home that you can see those changes also. Some are subtle, some are great, and we're trying to tweak as we go along. But I think it's getting better and better. And the students, you can see that. They're actually they're getting into it.
Yeah, and the meetings we have before each game with the student crew and then after the game, to kind of debrief, you can tell the connections are really starting to be made by those students, and it's really exciting because we're having to do less and less work. Like Rod and I have often talked about, my partner Rod, who's often helping me announce, we talked about, getting it to the point where we can just kind of sit back, and we're really close to that point now. So it's been an exciting year. And, of course, our plans are with broadcasting, to do some basketball and some other sports as well. So, but I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
Go ahead.
That's fine. But aside from the broadcasting, the other really neat things going on at CCCA, we've had our metals manufacturing program up and going. We're trying to form some partnerships with that and really get the students doing some things where they're applying what they're learning in the math classes, applying what they're learning in some of the science classes, and actually can see the relevance of what they're learning. And they've been doing some drafting activities. They've been doing some work on the metals machines. And, again, like I said, where it's the startup in a sense that it takes a little while to get where you want to go with that. And we're in the beginning stages of obviously the first course. They're not going to be able to go in there and manufacture a car, but we're getting there. And the masonry, Mr. Fred Mason, we've hired him on this time. And I got to say he's doing a phenomenal job working with the students. And they're really buying into that. They're loving it.
Well, I called you this week, and of course, I knew, the schedule was a little different this week because of what was going on at the college. I called you, and I said, where are you from? Well, I'm at Appalachian State. I said, is it cold there?
Not at home.
So tell us a little bit about that trip with the students and what that was about and what you think the students got out of it.
Right. Well, as you know, and some of the people at home may or may not know, but we are associated with the New Schools Project, and they have different guidelines as far as what we try to do with the students and really make sure that we provide them with a rich experience. And one of those mandates is that we're supposed to be making students college ready and expose them to those opportunities before, they get to college and hope they know what it's about. So what we did is, since this week Southeastern Community College was on their fall break, we took this opportunity, since our calendar is closely aligned with them, being that they take college classes, And we scheduled opportunities for the students to go visit some of the colleges. That way, you know, they, like State, a lot of students say they want to go to State or UNC Chapel Hill because of the football or baseball or things like that. But they really need to see what that campus is about and make sure that that's something they really want to do, because a lot of people here in Columbus County, we're those close-knit communities. And, I mean, myself, I didn't get out of Columbus County much other than family vacations until college and things like that. So those opportunities are for them to actually see that, you know, it is different. And going to State is entirely different than going to South, East, West, or even our school. So hopefully through those opportunities, and we visited State, we visited Appalachian State University and a private college, Lees McRae, up there, and exposed the students to what it's like, what the college has to offer, what the student life is like, and even the location change, which is drastically different, as we found out climbing the hills and things like that.
And Nikki, I appreciate that you went to a large state school like
Right.
North Carolina State, and then you went to, you know, a smaller state
Right.
school, and then Lees McRae. And I'm very familiar with Lees McRae because I actually studied dance there.
Oh, wow.
But we won't go into that because I don't want to bore anybody. But those schools all have different things to offer for students.
Absolutely.
And, of course, every student is different with their own unique needs. And those schools, like Lees McRae or like Appalachian State or even like North Carolina State, may fit that student's needs best. And so I think it's great that you were exposed them not just to the big ones, not even just to the
Right.
medium ones, but some of the small ones and some of the small excellent schools that we have here in North Carolina. So, Nikki, tell me, what was the reaction from the students? What sort of feedback did you get from them, and what was the response, and what did you sense their response was from going to those places?
Well, you know, this is the second trip that we've taken to the western part of the state with a group of students, and I always love going to that area with the students because there's a lot of students, like I mentioned a minute ago, that haven't been out of Columbus County, much less to the mountains. And, I mean, that's a really eye-opening experience just to the geographic area of how the terrain's different. I mean, just from that respect. And then the climate, when you called, I think it was on Monday, the temperature up there was 39 degrees. So that's a drastic difference. So someone who is not keen to cold weather, that's probably not an area they want to visit. But just talking with the students as we were popping into buildings and out and hearing people talk about the programs they offer there, you would hear comments like, man, this is cool, and I want to come here, or I've got to do what I got to do to come here. And, you know, all that's awesome. And then after that, the tour, and we sit there with the college liaisons or the college recruiting people there, and they make mention of the fact that, okay, what are the requirements to get in this school? And then they throw up the GPA requirement that says a 3.75 or a 3.8. Well, you know, that's good that they hear that from someone other than us at the high school.
Absolutely.
Because we were all teenagers. We know what it was like when teachers were saying, you got to do this and you got to do that. And as teenagers, we say, well, I'll worry about that my 12th grade year. But then
It's too late.
That's right.
It's too late.
Exactly. And that's what these people were telling them. You know, here's what you got to have to get in here. It's very competitive now. A lot of the universities are getting that way. Even UNCW right down the road from us, they've got a high requirement to get in there. And so we didn't just work with the seniors and juniors, but we also take freshmen because, like you said, they need to know in their freshman year, man, this is what I've got to do.
Yeah, and in some ways, if you haven't started thinking about that by your freshman year, it's even too late. And I know one of the focus points we've had in Columbus County schools is let's start this exposure even in kindergarten,
Right.
and start talking about it. And I think you've seen firsthand what the power of those visits can be.
Absolutely.
So that was great. Did you see any snow?
We didn't see any snow. It was mist and rain when we were there, and I was kind of concerned about getting up the next morning. But we stayed dry on this one.
Good. So lots of interesting things happening there at CCCA, and certainly appreciate the excellent work that you and the teachers and now the students have done. And it's very exciting and very unique and something for everyone in Columbus County to be proud of. So.
Absolutely. I think that we're really going in the right direction where our staff meetings that we're having with teachers and just having conversations about where we want to go, we're really striving to make sure that, you know, we've kind of got two different pathways, students who want to go to college and some that say, you know, when I graduate, I want to go straight to work, so give me some kind of marketable skill. And even though those are separate pathways, there's a lot of connections between those pathways so that student who is going to say that, well, I just want to go to work. Well, these different areas allow us to really show them the relevance of what they're doing in the math classroom or the English classroom. And, for example, when Miss Robin Gore says, hey, you got to give a speech next week, well, that ties in perfectly with radio broadcasting.
Absolutely. And one of the things, too, I think that's interesting about many of the areas that you work with is that, let's take broadcasting, for example. You may just want to have a 2-year degree, or you may want a 4-year degree and go and be in front of the camera. So there are many different entry and exit points within the individual disciplines, too. And showing those kids that may be thinking about doing the technical skill and getting out and doing something with it, the college side can be very beneficial, and it allows them to make a better informed choice.
Absolutely.
So wonderful. So I'm glad you had a good trip. I'm glad it didn't snow on you.
No, we stayed dry.
So,
but I will say that is a long ride.
It is a long ride.
55-mile-per-hour activity bus.
Yeah, and back before they built that highway, it seemed like it was straight up too. But it's a lot better now.
It is better.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, we've got about 3:50 left here before the start of the third quarter, and I appreciate you joining me. I think we're going to have Ethan Jacobs, who's been our switcher and basically our producer up here. He's going to slide over to the talent mic, and it's going to help us call the second half. So definitely appreciate everything that you're doing here with the students, Nikki, and we're really excited to see what happens in your school and out there, all schools. And I think it's safe to say that every single school has many, many special things happening. And for those of you listening out there, get inside those schools and see what's going on, because I'm telling you, it's with the new curriculum and the new focus on individual learning styles of students and how students learn and trying to meet the needs of individual children, which we've always tried to do, but now everyone's making a concerted effort, and it's our focus. It has been, I think, a great start to the school year, and I think we're going to go great places here in Columbus County Schools. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much, and we'll let you go get back to coaching students, and we'll be back here with Ethan in just a second. So
all right.
Appreciate
you
joining us. So if you are just joining us, we are about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left at halftime. East Columbus jumped out to a 40-12 lead, and they are ahead now at halftime, 40-12, and basically due to several turnovers by the St. Paul's Bulldogs. So good game, fast-paced game, and, of course, two very potent offenses, but East Columbus doing it not only with offense tonight, but defense. Once again, ahead 40-12 here at halftime. And I will say I've seen a lot of football games in my life. I've played and coached and viewed many games, and that was one of the longest first quarters. I think we lost count, but there was close to 40 points scored in the first quarter, as I recall. It was very fast-paced and very entertaining to watch. I guess if you're watching it, I don't know how entertaining it would be for our coaches, but very good first half by East Columbus. And, again, St. Paul's with the turnovers hurting them, but they're able to move the football. And I think coming in here to the second half, we're going to see St. Paul's probably attempting to move the football, probably throwing a little more, and trying to make up the 4-touchdown lead that East Columbus has on them. So, once again, getting ready here. Teams are on their way back out, stretching and getting ready for the second half. So glad you're with us once again. This is, if you're on the radio listening to us, WZCO 89.9 FM, Chadburn, North Carolina. And we are also at WZCO.org, and that's where you can get all the links to watch us on video, and you can also stream us audio online. You can also stream audio and video to your iPhone, iPad, and there's got to be something close by you can either listen or watch us on. So we are at the end of the third quarter. Got a score for you: East Bladen 28, South Columbus 0. Also some other scores from around the area. James Keenan up 30-0 over Midway. Lakewood over Hopton 27-6. So lots of action around the southeastern North Carolina. Lots of scores, and as we get those, we're going to bring them to you. So winding down now here in the first half, and we are ready to roll. Teams are coming back out. We've got some stretching going on and ready for our second half of football. And in just a second, we're going to get Ethan on here for you. And Ethan Jacobs from CCCA. And he's been with us before. He's been working the switcher tonight, but he's going to be working with me. And, of course, Rod is off this week. And we gave him a break, gave him the night off, and we're going to be having a second half. And next week, Rod will be back with you, and I'll be at Cub Scout camp. So we're getting ready to start the second half now, and excited to see what happens. And I believe that we'll see St. Paul's change their approach a little bit. I think we're going to see them opening. They had some success throwing the football. So we are getting ready to start. Here's St. Paul's now taking the field. And we are ready to roll just about here. And actually, they put 2 minutes back on the clock. And we are just about ready to go here. And I'm joined now with Ethan Jacobs. Ethan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
How was the first half working that switcher?
It was really good.
Fast paced, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely hard to keep up with all the action going on in the field. Okay, so East Columbus coming out now with a big lead, 40-12. And we are looking now here, winding down the first half. And East Columbus looking to get the football to start the first half, and we'll see what happens with the opening series of plays. Okay. So Ethan, how was this week? Were you on one of the trips this week?
Yes, I was. I was on the Fort Fisher trip. Wonder Works. That was it.
How was the Fort Fisher trip?
It was pretty good.
Good. All right. All right, so ready for an exciting second half of football? I know I am. I know I am fired. If this second half is anything like the first half, a lot of exciting plays. So I think we're in store for an entertaining half. And what year are you now at CCCA?
I am in the 11th grade.
11th grade. So you're the veteran of our crew tonight. All right, so we've got St. Paul's coming out now, and Malik Livingston lining up to start the second half kickoff. East Columbus getting the football first, and they are leading 40-12 right here with action just getting underway in the third quarter, second half. And deep back we've got Greg Melvin to receive for East Columbus. And the officials have lined everybody up, and here we go. We are ready for the second half. East Columbus, St. Paul's. And Livingston's kick is a low kick, and it's taken there by Melvin, and he's running up the center. He's looking for some room on the right side, and he is brought down near the 42-yard line of East Columbus.
Takes the ball back to the 43-yard line. First and 10 Gators.
And East Columbus in business now from their own 42-yard line. Ricky Ratliff in the shotgun, and he's got with him Nick McClure, and now this time it looks like he's got Mac Jenkins as well. And here's Ratliff waiting on the snap. And there's Derek Young in motion. It's a quick toss over to Derek Young. Speed sweep over around the left side, and St. Paul's is ready for it. And no gain on the play. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for East Columbus with the ball on their own 43-yard line, leading 40-12 here, opening moments of the third quarter. There is a handoff to, that is number 34, Nick McClure, over the right side. Decent gain on the play. That's 5 yards.
3rd and 5.
And that's going to bring up 3rd and 5 on the play.
Score is 40-12. 42-12, sorry.
And East Columbus now coming out 3rd and 5. Ratliff waiting for the snap. And he's got Nick McClure with him in the backfield. We've got slot left. And there's the handoff there. That is Brandon Freeman. Check that in the backfield. Running hard and close to a first down. And that is close to a first down. Looks like they want to measure. And it looks like from here he is going to be a little bit short. But we'll see what happens when they tighten the chain there.
Greg Melvin and Kenny Jackson.
And waiting here for the measurement. And he actually got the first down. So East Columbus with the first down now on the St. Paul's 47-yard line in business. Moving the football here, opening moments of the third quarter. 10:31 left to go in the third quarter. And East Columbus, of course, going no huddle like they have all season. And that's Ricky Ratliff, Brandon Freeman, and Nick McClure in the backfield. And the handoff is Brandon Freeman over the left side. He's got a little bit of speed, and he is going to gain still on his feet. He is still on his feet, and
he's got the first down.
15-yard run. And I think the most impressive thing is he got half those yards after he was hit. So excellent run there. Good hard running by Brandon Freeman of East Columbus. And so here we are now, 31-yard line of St. Paul's. East Columbus driving and with the lead 40-12 here in the third quarter. And there's Derek Young in motion. He's going to take the quick pitch around the right side. Gets a block by McClure. Turns up inside and short gain on the play.
Number 4, Derek Young on the carry.
And Ethan, that looks like that's going to bring up 2nd and about 6 on that play. And here we are, Ratliff waiting for the call in. And he's got Brandon Freeman and McClure in the backfield. Derek Young split out far to the right. And Ratliff waiting for the snap out of the shotgun. There's Young in motion, and it's taken by Freeman. He's going to break a tackle and get taken down close to the line of scrimmage.
Number 20, Prince Paul, no gain on the play.
And this brings up a very important third down, and we're going to call it 7 here for East Columbus. Very important to establish themselves here coming out of the locker room with a big lead. And let's see what happens here now with Ricky Ratliff, Brandon Freeman, and number 34, Nick McClure in the backfield. There's Derek Young in motion. There's the snap, and it's the handoff. No, it's a fake there. Ratliff keeps it. He goes around left end, and he is close to a first down. I think he's going to be a little bit short. So he faked the speed sweep to Derek Young, kept the ball himself, and followed Young right over left tackle. And it's going to bring up 4th down and about 2. And a big play here early on in the first quarter. East Columbus leading 40-12 with 8:20 left to go in the third quarter. And Ratliff is now, check that. That looks like that is Freeman under center. That was Ratliff. Excuse me. Ratliff was under center, and the give was to Nick McClure straight up the middle, and he is close to a first down. It's the first time tonight that I remember seeing Ratliff under center. He's been out of the shotgun, well, most of the season, and it looks like we may have to measure this one again. It's going to be close. All right, Ethan, what do you think? Does that look like a first down to you?
I believe it is a first down.
Okay, folks, you heard that Ethan was saying it was a first down, so it must be so. All right, we're going to see. So if it's not a first down, I'm thinking maybe nachos from the concession stand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good.
No,
all right, for me. Okay, so here we go with the measurement. It really looks close. It's really hard to tell from here. But again, if it's not a first down, St. Paul's takes over on downs and would be an early first key play for them. But it is a first down. East Columbus, first down, so Ethan was right. Good call, Ethan. Good eyes. He's got much better eyes than I do from up here. And East Columbus now driving with the ball on the St. Paul's 20-yard line. First and 10. Freeman and McClure in the backfield. Ratliff taking the snap out of the shotgun. It's a handoff to McClure up the middle off the left side. And McClure is in the end zone. And that was a run right up the middle off center and left guard. Excellent blocking on that side of the line. And that is going to make it 46-12. East Columbus winning now with 7:50 left to go in the third quarter. Excellent job, East Columbus, coming out of the halftime break, establishing themselves, doing an excellent job. And so here we have the try after touchdown, and that's kicking here. And low snap, ball is up, and it looks like it is good. And that was Martin on the kick, and that's going to make it 47-12 now. 47-12. East Columbus with a comfortable 35-point lead. And we are looking now 47-12, 7:50 left to go in the third quarter. All right, so we said we were going to see offense at the beginning of this game, and we have certainly seen plenty of offense. I think the 3 turnovers from St. Paul's really hurt them. Obviously, East Columbus taking advantage, scoring 3 touchdowns off those turnovers. And without those turnovers, this game, quite frankly, could have a completely different complexion. But here we go now with Malik Livingston back deep to receive for St. Paul's. And I believe it's Martin set to kick off for East Columbus. And we've seen a lot of short, low kickoffs from both teams. As a matter of fact, from St. Paul's, they typically don't even use a tee. They place the ball flat on the ground and try to kick it as hard. And, of course, the hope is you hit it off of somebody and you're able to recover it. So see what happens here. Again, Livingston back deep to receive for St. Paul's. And it's a squib kick once again, and it's on the ground. And number 10, that is Xavier Downing for St. Paul's, fell on the football and was almost recovered by East Columbus. So St. Paul's now in business, trailing 47-12 East Columbus. In the lead, they have the football, St. Paul's does, on their own 34-yard line. First and 10 now with Kane Banner and Sean Williams in the backfield, once again running an offense much like East Columbus. Shotgun, single back set. They like to throw out of this formation. They do run a little more 4 receiver. They've got 3 receivers spread right, split left right now, and there is Kane Banner waiting for the play, and he takes the snap, he hands it off to Williams, and no going.
Williams on the carry, tackled by number 30, Isaiah Day.
Second down. And they got 10 to go.
All right, so second and 10. St. Paul's quickly up to the football, and that's Kane Banner waiting for the snap there with Williams. And he takes the snap. It's a 5-step drop back, and he's got a man open, and it's dropped. Deion Gilchrist for St. Paul's had an opening. He was well covered, but the football was thrown on time, but could not hang on.
And it's still 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10 now. Kane Banner waiting for the play and telling his line. We have 3 receivers. Check that. We've got trips right, spread left. We have 4 receivers in the backfield. Banner back to pass and getting a little bit of pressure. He's got a man. It's tipped. Tipped by East Columbus. It looks like that is number 11, Henry Baldwin, was back in zone coverage and was able to get his hands on the football across the middle. And that is an incomplete pass. And I believe, judging from the change in personnel, we're looking at a punt from St. Paul's. Big defensive series there now. East Columbus coming out, scoring immediately, and now holding St. Paul's. Very potent 400-point offense to a couple of series and out. So here's Livingston back to punt. It's a high snap. He gets it down and looks like it's going to go out of bounds. And that's going to be the 39-yard line. East Columbus will take over on their own 39-yard line, leading now 47-12 over the St. Paul's Bulldogs. 7 minutes left to go now in the third quarter. And East Columbus now back on the football. And Freeman, McClure, and Ratliff in the backfield. Here's the snap. It's a handoff to, it looks like Freeman, and he breaks a tackle, moves to the inside, and makes a gain. He's still running. He's still on his feet. No whistle yet, and he is now down 4 very hard-fought yards there.
It is second down.
Second and about 6 for the Gators.
All right, second now and 6 for East Columbus with the ball on their own 44-yard line. Freeman, McClure, and now Ricky Ratliff at quarterback, waiting for the snap. Got one man split to the left, and here's a handoff to Nick McClure. He goes over left side. He's got a block.
It's first down.
And a first down by East Columbus. Nick McClure with a 7-yard run, and they are now in St. Paul's territory, driving the football.
49-yard line of the Bulldogs. It's enough for Gator first down.
And East Columbus back quickly on the football. Got the ball on the Bulldogs' 49-yard line. Ratliff waiting for the snap. You've got flanker left, one wide receiver to the left. You've got a tight end left and right side. And it looks as though East Columbus might be working the clock just a little bit. They're taking their time. Pace is slowed down a little bit. And there's a handoff to Freeman. He's up the middle. He's got a little bit of room, and he takes the ball down for close to a 7-yard gain.
So it's second and 7.
42-yard line.
And the score is still 47-12.
And here comes the play. And again, East Columbus with this lead, keeping the ball on the ground. Coach Cassell is really working the clock. Each play is taking a lot longer than it typically does. East Columbus taking their time. They're running out of 2 tight ends, which is something we haven't seen a lot of. They've got 2 backs in the backfield. Still out of the shotgun, though. Here's the snap. It's a high snap, and it's given, and it looks it's fumbled, and it's recovered by the Bulldogs. High shotgun snap. It was a high snap. Ratliff bobbled it, got it in Freeman's hands, but barely, and then it looked like the ball was dropped. So
I believe that is their first fumble of the game.
I believe so. And so the Bulldogs now take over with the football on their own 43-yard line. Excellent field position now for the Bulldogs to get something going here. And it looks like they're going to come out with spread right, split left, 3 wide receivers now with, of course, Sean Williams, where he has been all night, right beside Kane Banner in the shotgun formation. And Banner and Williams are talking a little bit. Now here's Banner taking the snap. It's a little low, and he's rolling out to the right. Looks like it's a boot, and he cuts up and gets a short gain of around 2 yards. Kane Banner around right in for 2 yards on the keeper. And Ethan, I'm pretty sure on that play it was designed to be not an option, but he was going to keep the ball from the beginning. So we've seen from St. Paul's Kane reading the linebacker and sometimes giving the ball to Sean Williams and sometimes pulling it down. But I think that time it was a designed boot play. So here we are now, St. Paul's with the football. They are second and 7 now with the ball on their own 45-yard line. And here's Banner with the snap. It's low. He pulls back. He's got a man open downfield, but he's getting chased by a host of Gators. Now he's flushed out of the pocket inside and picks up the first down. So Kane Banner got some pressure, pulled the football down, and was able to pick up the first down.
Enough for a Bulldog first down. Tackled by number 8, Terrence Manning of the Gators.
1st and 10, and the score is 47-12, Gators.
And the Bulldogs quickly back on the line. Here's Banner taking the snap. And it's a good snap this time. And it's going to be a handoff to Sean Williams up the middle. And he's going to get maybe a yard. That's going to bring up 2nd now and 9. Got a couple of scores for you. At the end of 3rd, we have East Bladen 28, South Columbus 0, and we have West Columbus and South Robinson tied at the end of 3. And now St. Paul's on the football. Banner waiting for the snap. It's a little bit low. He's back to pass. He's got a man open in the slant, and it is almost intercepted. It was a little bit high there for Malik Livingston, and East Columbus was back in zone defense and almost picked that off. All right, so brings up now 3rd and 9 for the Bulldogs. And it looks like we have a flag down. Flag down on the play. And having a conversation with St. Paul, so we've got to assume it's on the Gators here. Waiting for the call from the official. And
number 66, it's like he's hurt.
Looks
He's
like
limping off the field.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against St. Paul's. So that's going to back it up 15. And I think what the official was doing in that case is he was actually talking to the player with the penalty. And it's a good job by the officials to again, remind the players this is a game about their sportsmanship. And good job by the officials to make note of that and to talk to the players, not just throw the flag. So here we are now, 3rd, and I'm just going to call it 25 because it's a lot. But St. Paul's, with a long way to go for the first down, they are now back inside their own territory on the 41-yard line and trailing 47-12. East Columbus leading 47-12. And now Kane Banner, quarterback for St. Paul's, waiting for the snap. Here's the snap, and it's a drop back by Banner. He's got a man open. He dumps it off there to number 25, Javon Crawford. But it's a little low, and it's incomplete, and that's going to bring up 4th down now for St. Paul's. And we got to change of personnel, so I am thinking that they're going to at least line up to punt. And Malik Livingston, number 5, is back to punt for the Bulldogs. And back deep, we've got number 8, Taryn Manning. Yep. High snap, and Livingston has to chase it down. It's a low kick, and it takes a good bounce. But Malik Livingston did an excellent job of corralling that one. He almost had to back up 3 or 4 steps to get underneath it. So East Columbus now with the football and on their own 32-yard line, in control, 47-12, with 2:46 left in the 3rd quarter. And East Columbus came out of the first half after halftime, scored a quick touchdown, answered with a quick stop against St. Paul's, and then now a second stop and back on offense. So East Columbus's defense has done an excellent job in the second half of stopping the very potent, very well disciplined and coached St. Paul's offense. So here's Ratliff once again and taking the snap. And that's going to be a handoff now to Greg Melvin. He gets around the outside. He's got some room. He's at the 40, the 30, the 20, and brought down at the 15-yard line. Excellent effort by St. Paul's. That is number 10, Xavier Downing. Did not give up on the play, chased it down, and just got a shoestring. Just got a shoestring. So excellent job there by Downing. It's a big play. East Columbus, 1st and 10 on the St. Paul's 15-yard line now, leading 47-12 in the 3rd quarter. 2:36 left to go. And we do have a final, East Bladen over South Columbus. This is a final 28-6. 28-6, that's a final, East Bladen over South Columbus. Ratliff on the keeper up the middle.
So he's brought down on the 10. It is second down.
The winning 50-50 ticket is 7, 4, 1, 5, 5.
And here's
3.
Radliff lining up with Nick McClure in the backfield. Got 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and it looks like that is Ratliff on the keeper. Gets a block by Derek Young, and he is
It's
in
a
the end
touchdown.
zone. Nice block by Derek Young. Was able to spring Ricky Ratliff around left end. And ladies and gentlemen, that makes it East Columbus 53, St. Paul's 12. With 1:51 left to go here now in the third quarter.
If you have the winning ticket, come to the press box.
So big run there, which set up the Ricky Ratliff around left end. And East Columbus in control, 53-12 here, waiting on the kick.
And the kick is up. And it's good, I think.
Yeah, it's good. All right, so that's 54-12. So big night for the East Columbus offense and defense. And Ethan, if I had to think of a turning point in this game, of course we've got a little ways to go. But if I had to think of a turning point, it was those 2 back-to-back fumble recoveries for touchdowns by East Columbus on successive plays. That was a big turning point, and East Columbus has not looked back ever since. So excellent job there, and good job. And again, St. Paul's is a very well-coached team. I have a feeling that Trey Sasser is going to have them ready to go next week. And, of course, again, we have some football to play here. But it's been a good football game overall. And, of course, both teams, I think, can be proud of the way that their teams have played. So now Martin's getting ready to kick off. And back deep, we've got Malik Livingston. It seems like he's everywhere. And do have an update for you. West Columbus and South Robinson going to overtime, tied at 6. So West Columbus and South Rob in overtime. Sounds like they've got a good game there. And here's the kick. It's a deep kick now. Livingston's going to catch it on the fly. And he's got a wall of blockers up front. He makes one miss. He gets to the outside. He's got a little bit of running room still on his feet. And he is taken down now at the
42-yard line.
42-yard line. Excellent. So nice return there by Malik Livingston. And again, he's done it all tonight. He's been everywhere. Definitely an asset to St. Paul's, and finally got a chance to return one on the kickoff, and returns it up close to midfield now, 42-yard line. St. Paul's takes over 1st and 10 for St. Paul's on their own 42-yard line, trailing now 54-12 in the third quarter. And here's Kane Banner waiting for the snap. He gives it off to Williams up the middle, and met there by a host of Gators led by number 44, L.J. Little. Looks like that's going to bring up 2nd down and 9.
And we do have a winner.
Check that. That'll be 2nd, and we'll call it 8. And Banner's waiting for the play to come in. He gets it and relays it to his offensive line. And we've got spread right, split left, or flanker left. And here's Banner with the snap and gives it off to Williams. Over the right side, getting a few yards. And brought down after a decent run there. But well short of the 1st down.
It is 3rd down.
And St. Paul's up on the football. We've got about 43 seconds left in the third quarter. Ball is marked on St. Paul's 49-yard line. Banner waiting for the snap. Out of shotgun, he takes it, and it's a quick drop. And it's caught there. And looks like that's going to be Deion Gilchrist on that side. I checked that. That is not Gilchrist. That's Malik Livingston on that side. So that's a short game, but enough for a 1st down. So St. Paul's now moving the football a little, throwing. And, of course, the one benefit to throwing the football a little more is it does stop the clock if there's an incomplete pass, and St. Paul's kind of working the sidelines. So here we go now, St. Paul's.
It is 1st and 10.
And There's Banner back to drop. He fakes one way. He's got a man open deep down the sideline and couldn't make it. Malik Livingston just a little bit out of bounds for him. Pass was on target, but could not quite get there. Livingston, once again, was open, but a little bit overthrown there by Kane Banner. So here we go now. Ball is on the 42-yard line of East Columbus. East Columbus leading 54-12 here in the closing moments of the third quarter. And here's the snap. Handoff to Williams. Up the middle. He's got a first down. He keeps fighting, and looks like he's going to be about a yard. No, check that. He does have the first down. They're going to give him forward progress. Going to move the chains here, and now St. Paul's. And I think, are they going to be able to get, that's the end of the third quarter. So, end of the third quarter here, Gator Field, and we have a 54-12 lead. East Columbus well in control. So, few scores here for you. End of the third quarter, we have Whiteville 43, West Bladen 13. And we're waiting for an update on the West Columbus South Robinson game. Last we heard, it was an overtime tied 6-6. So, waiting and looking for an update there. We know that's a big game. And just to update you, if you haven't heard, we do have a final score now. And that final is East Bladen 28, South Columbus 6. So, coming out of the change of quarter, changing sides here. And I've got Mr. Aaron Yates with me now. It's going to take over for the fourth quarter.
Hola.
Aaron, great to have you here. Appreciate all the great work you're doing with the students out here. And I can tell you we're very proud of the program and the work that you're doing with them. And I think you'd agree the kids are, man, they're really doing a good job.
Yeah, they're getting better and better every game.
Yeah, and, of course, that's what everything is about in education is you get a little better every time you do it. So, all right, here we have St. Paul's now up on the football, and we've got spread right, split left, and we're looking at the first play of the fourth quarter, and it's a low snap by Banner, and he picks it up, and he's getting some pressure. He throws down the middle. Good pass there by Malik Livingston, catches it on the run, and it's going to be a first down, and it's going to be first and goal for St. Paul. So Kane Banner takes the football, low snap, picks it up, gets some pressure, steps into pressure, and throws a strike to Malik Livingston. So,
yeah, that was a pretty good correction by the quarterback after that low snap.
Excellent job. I think we've seen how Kane Banner has racked up so many yards this year throwing the football.
Yeah.
He's got great accuracy when he has a chance to throw. All right, Kane Banner waiting for the snap. We've got two wide receivers to the right and a wing left there, and that looks like that's going to be a handoff to Williams. And he is going to go in for the score.
Touchdown.
So that is Sean Williams with the score. That is going to make it 54 now to 18.
And that's St. Paul's first score since the first quarter?
I believe so. The East Columbus defense has shut down the Bulldogs offense, and that's a major feat considering they've scored in the 50s on a couple of occasions and in the 40s as well. So we'll see what happens here. Looks like they're lining up, Aaron, for the two-point conversion.
Yeah.
And waiting for the play to come in. And there's Kane Banner getting the play, relaying it quickly to his offensive line. We've got two wide receivers to the right, one to the left. And Banner waiting for the snap. He takes it. It's going to be a pass. He drops back with a little bit of pressure and is almost intercepted, but is incomplete. So the point after touchdown is no good. And that leaves us with the score, East Columbus 54, St. Paul's 18.
That was a pretty good drive for St. Paul's that time.
That was a good drive, and I think if they'll get a chance to touch the football at least a couple more times, I think you're really going to see them try to open things up and put the ball in Kane Banner's hands and just say, hey, let's throw the football down the field.
Yeah, that's something we haven't seen since the first quarter from them.
Yeah, and just want to say, too, for those of you that are listening in and We had a great performance at halftime by the dance team and the cheerleaders, and the band played very well in the beginning of the game. And also, we've got St. Paul's band over here. We see them on the other side. They've been trying to fire up their side.
yeah.
So, and we just can't forget, man, it's a lot of opportunities for kids to learn, and not only on the football field, but around the football field. And, nothing like high school football and nothing like high school athletics. So great job all the way around.
They look like they're having a good time, even though it's 40 degrees outside.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm not out there.
Oh, man.
It even looks cold. All right, so here we are now. The kickoff, it's a low kick, and it's going to be taken there by, I believe that's Derek Young. He's on the right side, and he's got a little bit of room.
Got some room.
And we'll have to check that number. And brought down right
Shoestring
at the
tackle.
30-yard line. Almost broke it. And we've got a number on that. I believe that is going to be Jonathan Stacker on that play. So he takes the squib kick, pushes it right up the middle, and East Columbus takes over 1st and 10 on their own 42-yard line with a commanding 54-18 lead now. 11:22 left to go in the fourth quarter.
Are they keeping Ratliff behind the center this time?
I'll have to look and see.
'Cause I know they've been swapping them in and out during the game.
And
yeah, he's out there.
It looks like it is Ratliff, and he's got McClure out there, and I believe that's also number 22, Jalen Dumas, I believe. We'll have to check that number. And here's the snap, and that's a handoff inside, and he's got a little bit of running room and close to a first down.
Picked up about 9.
Excellent run there. And that is, I believe, number 22, Jalen Dumas.
So that brings up 2nd and 1.
Nice
for the
9-yard
Gators.
pickup by number 22 there. And in comes Greg Melvin now in the backfield.
Greg Melvin, he's quick.
Very quick. And I can tell you East Columbus is now starting to think about a little bit of clock management now with the big lead.
Yeah.
And you're going to see them running the football and keeping it on the ground now with about 11 minutes to go left here in the fourth quarter. And, again, East Columbus, very well-coached team, just like St. Paul's, really working the clock, and their coaches communicating with them, telling them when to start the play. And nice clock management here by East Columbus. And here's the snap to Ratliff. It's going to be a quick handoff, and not much there. Not much going. And St. Paul's, good job that time on defense.
He lost one.
And that was Brandon Freeman on the play. Britton Spalding on the play. On the carry. And it's going to bring up 2nd and 11 now. And it's nice now that they're doing some clock management. We can have some time to breathe.
Yeah.
This has been a fast-paced game. And East Columbus is once again back on center, ready to go. Ricky Ratliff, Greg Melvin, and Britton Spalding in the backfield.
First quarter felt like the fourth quarter to me.
Absolutely. That was the longest first quarter, I think, in the history of high school football. And it might be the most points scored in one quarter.
What was the score at the end of the first quarter?
We'll have to check. I think there were 34 points scored. And it's hard for me to even remember the first quarter at this point. This has been a lot of football here, a lot of good football. Got a flag on the play, and that's offsides against St. Paul's. Makes it a little easier now. 2nd and we'll call it 6 for East Columbus. And we are still waiting on South Robinson, West Columbus score. Of course, we'll be at West Columbus next week.
Okay.
Bring you the game.
And that's against Red Springs?
I believe so.
Yes.
Be a good game.
We watched them last week. They were a pretty good team.
Excellent team. A lot like the teams that we've seen. That just their quarterback is more of a pocket passer.
Yeah.
Very accurate. Very accurate. Here's Ratliff waiting for the snap. And it is a quick handoff. No, it's a pitch.
Option.
And the ball's on the ground. And it was recovered by Greg Melvin. It was a fake to this side, off tackle, and then an option. And the pitch to Greg Melvin was a little difficult to handle. Ball's on the ground, but he does recover. But it does bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, that option play, that's a very scary play, especially when that end comes crashing down to the quarterback.
Yeah,
pitch it to take that hit.
Yep, and sometimes quarterbacks like to pitch it a little early when they see that end crashing down. All right, Ratliff back in the shotgun, waiting on his coach to tell him when he's got enough time taken off the clock, but not enough time to draw a delay of game.
Oh. Greg Melvin on the outside. He's tackled.
Have Greg Melvin on the carry. And that's going to bring up 4th down. East Columbus burning about 3 minutes off the clock with that series. And right now that's the name of the game, is burning up time. East Columbus is going to bring out the punt team. We're going to see a punt coming up. And Ricky Ratliff back to punt, and we've got, I believe that would be Jamel for St. Paul's.
The special teams have been working all night long tonight, both ways. Kickoff, return, punt.
And there is a decent punt, and it looks like it's going to drop in
At the 10.
Close to, certainly inside the 20-yard line. We'll see where they mark it. That's going to be right near the 11-yard line. So good punt there by Ricky Ratliff, and he is having a good night on all parts of the game.
Yeah.
Behind center and punting game. So St. Paul's now in business, 89 yards away from a score, trailing East Columbus 54-18. And East Columbus, if you're just joining us here at WZCO and WZCO.org, we had 2 back-to-back fumble returns for touchdowns by East Columbus that St. Paul's has never recovered from.
Yeah.
And that set the tone, and East Columbus has been able to move the football and stop St. Paul's pretty much the entire game.
Ooh, nice hit by number 44 for East.
And that is L.J. Little there,
L.J. Little,
who's had a good night playing defense there. And so winding down to 7:30 left in the 4th quarter, East Columbus up 54-18 once again, and St. Paul's with the football on their own 11-yard line, 12-yard line.
12.
Check that. And so there's Banner waiting for the snap out of the shotgun. Takes the snap. It's a fake handoff. He keeps it up the middle and is brought down almost immediately after a short gain. And it looks like there was a fumble on the play. Was it a strip or a fumble? We're waiting for a call. It is a touchdown.
They changed quarterbacks that play.
I believe they did. We couldn't see exactly what happened, but Henry Baldwin either stripped or picked up the football to give East Columbus their 3rd fumble return for a touchdown tonight. East Columbus High School with 3 fumble returns for touchdowns against the St. Paul Bulldogs. Now with a 60-18 lead with 7 minutes and 8 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter. We'll have to look at that on replay. We couldn't exactly see what happened, but it was it looked like it may have been a strip. I didn't see the ball on the ground. And here's Martin getting ready to punt. The point after. Low snap, and it's blocked.
Blocked.
Number 34, Damian McMillan, came through and blocked that one cleanly. So good job there by McMillan and the St. Paul's defense.
Yeah, I think that was a strip that time. Because the refs didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, it's interesting because the referee was looking at the side judge, and they were trying to figure out exactly what happened. It was kind of a bang-bang play.
Yeah.
And they kind of looked at each other and conferred for just a split second, and then the arms went up, and we have our 3rd fumble return for a touchdown.
I'll tell you what, if it was a strip, that takes a lot of strength to reach in there and grab that ball away from somebody that's trying to protect it.
Okay, so still waiting, folks, on that West Columbus South Robinson score. They were in overtime, tied 6-6. Very important game for West Columbus. All right, St. Paul's set to receive, and it's an onside kick, and it's recovered by the Gators. No, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
An onside kick. Mac Jenkins recovers for the Gators.
10, Mac Jenkins.
So I don't know if that was intended, and I see some conferring going on with coaches and the kicker. It could have just as easily been a missed kick. They've been squibbing all night, and it seemed like that was a short squib. But East Columbus recovers, leading now 60-18 with the ball on the St. Paul's 39-yard line.
South Robinson 12, West Columbus 12, double overtime.
And we just received word. You probably heard that on the announcement. 12-12 overtime. South Robinson, West Columbus all tied up. So good game there down in Roland. And fake handoff.
Ratliff keeping.
Yep. Ratliff over left side. And looks like a pickup about 7 there.
Flag on the play. Looks as if it's going to be sportsmanlike conduct.
We have a flag on the play.
St. Paul's. There was a little tussle at the end of that play.
And, Aaron, I do want to mention something. I realized we're actually going to see St. Paul's and West Columbus next week.
Yeah, we will.
So we'll have Red Springs coming up on the 26th.
Oh, the 26th.
So we'll be back to see St. Paul's at West Columbus. So we'll be bringing you that game live on WZCO 89.9 Chadbourne, North Carolina, and also WZCO, where you can find links to all the places we're doing the great live streaming of this football game, both video and audio, and just audio. Heck, you could even get it on your cell phone or even your landline phone.
Personal foul against the
Yep, got a personal foul against St. Paul's, and that's going to march the ball on down the field, give East Columbus a first down, and now with 60-18 lead now, East Columbus, 6:50 left to go in the fourth quarter. Definitely going to be looking at running some clock here. And Ratliff getting the play. And we've got Britton Spalding as well as, check that, Greg Melvin and Britton Spalding in the backfield with Ricky Ratliff. And they're going with a 2 tight end set now. And
running off a little clock.
Running off clock. There's Ratliff waiting for Coach Cassell's signal to begin the play. And, again, good clock management by Coach Cassell. And here is the snap. And it's a handoff now to Britton Spalding. He's looking for a little bit of running room, and he's not going to find it.
No gain.
No gain on the play. And that's number 44, Gabriel Washington, there on the tackle. Good job there by the right side of the St. Paul's defense.
We're going to see a little bit of...
And so, again, quickly back on the line, and now the clock is running. We're at 5:55 to go in the fourth quarter. Ratliff once again waiting for the signal to run the play. 5:46 now left to go. And here's the play. Shotgun snap to Ratliff. He takes it, hands it off to, looks like that is going to be...
Number 22.
Yeah, that's Jalen Dumas. And he gets a good run up over the left side of the line. And that's going to bring up second, and we'll call it 2 from where we are. And now with 5:15 left to go in the fourth quarter, East Columbus leading 60-18. That is 6-0 to 1-8. And East Columbus has been in control of this game since 2 back-to-back fumble returns for touchdowns. And we have had since then a 3rd fumble return for a touchdown. So East Columbus 18 points off of 3 St. Paul's fumbles.
And all 3 of those were for touchdowns, right?
All 3 for touchdowns.
Okay.
So if you've put the ball on the ground tonight, it's been in the end zone. And we got a measurement here. We got a first down. It's going to bring up 1st and goal for East Columbus. And with 5:11 left in the fourth quarter, East Columbus knocking on the door. It looks like East Columbus is going to move to 5-4 and position themselves nicely in the Three Rivers Conference. So here's Ratliff waiting for clock to wind down a few ticks. And he's got Britton Spalding with him and Jalen Dumas. And here is the snap. And it's Britton Spalding over the right side and picks up maybe a yard or two. Going to bring up 2nd and goal.
Met at the line by number 34, Damian McMillan.
So, Aaron, when you think about the game, what strikes you the most about this game for East Columbus?
Oh, man, what strikes me the most was it seems like last week they got down because Red Springs jumped out on them with a 2-touchdown lead, and it seems like they couldn't come back from that. But tonight, since they jumped out on St. Paul's, it looks like they kept their momentum on throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree. They came out swinging, they came out fighting, and played well on both sides of the football in the first quarter, and that set them up for the rest of the game. Looks like we got Britton Spalding right there in the middle, and that's going to bring up 3rd and goal. And we've got number 7, Greg Melvin, coming into the game. He's going to tap number 22, Jalen Dumas, and he's going to come off for a well-deserved rest. So we're going to have Spalding and Melvin in the backfield with Ricky Ratliff getting the call and walking it in. And waiting for a few more ticks of the clock. We're at 3:10 now left to go in the fourth quarter. East Columbus leading 60-18. And 1st and goal on the St. Paul's 5-yard line. And here's the play. Ratliff waiting for the snap. Takes it. Hands it off quickly. Britton Spalding. He gets outside. He cuts up the middle and stopped just short of the goal line.
That was a good hard run.
And we're going to call it 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line there, Aaron. And looks like we may have had Spalding shaking up a little bit on the play.
Yeah.
He's up, and I think he's ready to roll. So now with 2:27 left to go in the fourth quarter, East Columbus leading 60-18, and looking for one more score on the 2-yard line of St. Paul's. And we've got, I believe this is 4th and goal. Ratliff waiting patiently for the clock to wind down. And here's the snap. It's a quick handoff, and looks like we've got some movement on the play. Got a flag on the field, and looks like that would be a dead ball legal procedure, but we'll wait for the call. Yep, dead ball legal procedure against the Gators. It's going to back them up to the 7-yard line, where it'll be 4th and goal now for the Gators. And with 2 minutes left, 2:03 left here in the fourth quarter. Now the clock is winding. We're down to 2. This will take us down close to 1:30 left to go in the game, regardless of the outcome. So Ratliff waiting for the signal from his coach to run the play. You got Melvin in the backfield, as well as Britton Spalding. And here's the snap. It's a handoff to Spalding up the middle. He's got a little room to run outside. He gets loose.
Looks like he got in there that time.
And he's going to be just short.
Oh.
Just short. 2-yard line. Stopped at the 2-yard line. Britton Spalding. So with 1:22 left in the fourth quarter, St. Paul's takes over on downs, 98 yards from a score. And this has been a good game. This has been a really good game. It's been a good game for East Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this will go a long way to propelling them for the playoffs. But I will say St. Paul's, a very talented team. Again, Trey Sasser, an excellent, excellent coach who will have these guys ready to play next week at West Columbus.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a really good game next week. And, of course, West Columbus, we're waiting to see how they're doing at South Robinson. It was tied 12-12 in double overtime. But that will be a good game next week between West Columbus and St. Paul's. Yeah, so here's the snap, and we've got Kane Banner on the keeper around left side. He gets a little bit of room, makes a move, spins and brought down close to the 16-yard line.
And I think East Columbus, they have Fairmont and South Robertson coming up for the last 2 weeks of the season. And I think those two games depend on their playoff hopes.
And would love to see all our teams make it to the playoffs this year.
We would.
Of course, I don't know where we would go. We'd have to pick one. That'd be hard. That'd be hard to do. All right, under a minute now left to go here in the fourth quarter. And Kane Banner, who has had a good game under center, or I should say about 5 yards back of center, hands off to Williams, who is taken down. And that's number 11, Henry Baldwin, who scored the last fumble return. I can't just say the fumble return for a touchdown. I have to say which one. Scored on the last fumble return. That's Henry Baldwin. And we're looking at 30 seconds. I think St. Paul's may try to run one more play. And that's going to be it for this game. Okay. Here's Banner with the handoff right up the middle to Williams, and that's going to do it.
That'll be it.
So East Columbus uses 3 defensive touchdowns on their way to a 60-18 victory over the St. Paul's Bulldogs, a very talented St. Paul's Bulldogs team. And East Columbus will come over to the sideline, we'll shake hands, and that's the game.
Yeah.
So good job, East Columbus. Congratulations
Great job
to Coach Cassell and also all the coaches and the players. Great job tonight. So 60-18, and we're going to hang around just a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about the game, and also we're still going to try to wait around for that South Robinson West Columbus score so we can give that to you. So any closing thoughts, Aaron, while we're thinking about the football game here?
Oh, man, this was a great game tonight. Even though St. Paul's couldn't pull it together, I really have respect for East Columbus and their hard work tonight. Putting up 60 points tonight.
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. And I think as you go on and think about postseason, one of the things that you have to go deep into the postseason is going to be a good defense. And I think tonight we saw East Columbus play very good defense against a very fast, very capable, and very, quite frankly, very talented St. Paul's team that had put up an average of close to 50 points a game.
Yeah.
And tonight they were held to under 20. And I'd have to check. I believe it is their lowest point total of the season, St. Paul's. So going forward, I think the coaches from East Columbus have to think that if they can reach the postseason, their team has evolved to the point where they could go far with the balanced attack they have on offense, the speed they have on offense, but how well they play on defense. So I'm really excited to see how East Columbus goes, how they do from here on out.
Yeah, because in football, well, in all sports, you have to have offense to score. But defense puts you in a position to score, especially in football. And that happened a lot tonight. Their defense put them closer to the opposing goal line a whole lot.
And not only do you have the 3 touchdowns scored by the defense,
Right.
but there were 2, possibly 3 other scores that were a direct result of just outstanding defensive play. And there were also a couple of other turnovers thrown in there as well. So defense wins the night tonight for East Columbus, and really made a difference, I think, all the way around. So once again, East Columbus with the victory over St. Paul's, and we're waiting on the South Robinson West Columbus score, and they were tied 12-12 in overtime, double overtime. And so we're going to hang around a little while and try to wait for that. So, Aaron, while we're waiting, do you want to tell the audience what setup is like for one of these games for the students and I guess for us?
Okay. Well, basically we have a 3-camera setup, and it's very, very intricate. We got 3 computers, one for our streaming, we have one for our switching, and we have one for, well, tonight we have one for YouTube. We have our 2 mics that we have set up running in a mixer board, And all those things have to be set up and plugged in before the game, and it takes us a while to do that.
I think we have more cable up here than AT&T laid in Manhattan.
Yeah, I believe so.
There's a lot of cable. Talk to us about where the cameras are situated, because I think some people might be interested about what the viewpoints are, and then how we get the signal from the cameras all the way up here in the booth.
Well, we have 2 cameras on. We have 2 on the field that are placed about 10-yard line, and we have 1 on top of the press box. Those 2, the one that's up top is our primary camera. It gets the aerial footage, and that's the one that we see the most. And the ones on the field get the action, and we switch to those as secondaries. But the way they're set up by Ethernet. And what are those boxes called?
They're called Balins, so they convert
Balins.
the signal, yeah.
Yeah, and they send the signal up here to our switcher, and the switcher outputs that footage to our streaming camera, and that's what you get at home when you're watching it.
And so if you go to WZCO.org, you can actually see some photos of our setup and some of the students in action. But the portable switcher that we have is something that really adds a lot of benefit to what we're doing, because we can actually switch between up to 6 cameras.
Yeah.
So, certainly added a lot of enjoyment. I think more importantly is giving the students a really authentic experience for broadcasting a game. Hey, Aaron, I got a final for us now. Whiteville 57, West Bladen 21. So the Wolfpack taking care of West Bladen tonight.
Okay.
And again, we're still waiting for West Columbus and South Robinson. They're tied 12-12 in double overtime. I think about some of the games I've seen in college recently. I think it was the West Virginia-Baylor game. I looked at the score and I said, that must have been 6 overtimes, and I think it was regulation, and it was 70-64 or something insane like that. So,
man,
certainly games can go on indefinitely.
I know their defensive coaches were having a fit after that game.
I think so. I think it'd be hard to score 70 points in a college football game.
Telling you.
If there wasn't a defense on the field, it would be hard to score that. So, I think there are also, now with the college football season, we're starting to see, some matchups really come into play. And now that the BCS standings, I think, come out this week, I believe.
Yeah, this week.
College football is starting to get interesting, as they start playing down towards bowls. And I love bowl season for college
They have a
football.
new bowl set up this year, don't they?
I believe they do, yeah.
Okay.
But see, I don't like to watch the New Year's Day bowls. I like to watch the ones that happen like December 16th.
Yeah.
Because those are the kids
that
they're the ones out there that just play in because they love the game. There's a lot of really good football played in those early bowl games. So.
Yeah.
All right, still waiting now on a score. We've had some updates, but nothing since the 12-12 double overtime tie between West Columbus and South Robinson. And we're going to hang on for a couple more minutes, but we've got about 800 feet of cable that we got to roll up. And I have a feeling Coach Bracey is probably going to cut the lights off on us if we stay around too much later than 10:30 or so. So we may not be able to hang out with you much longer.
I was thinking if West Columbus's game, if their overtime is anything like our first quarter, it might still be 12-12, second overtime.
Yeah, I was getting scores at the end of the first quarter about third quarter scores. So I was like, that was definitely a long, long quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, South Robinson, we have a score. South Robinson over West Columbus, 23-20 in triple overtime. So South Robinson winning at West Columbus, 23-20 in triple overtime. So, next week we'll have West Columbus at St. Paul's, or St. Paul's at West Columbus, and we'll be bringing you that broadcast. And I certainly hope you tune in. And just closing thoughts, very proud of East Columbus tonight. And also thought St. Paul's played well, and I know that they'll bounce back next week and be ready for West Columbus. Looking forward to bringing you guys that game. And we really appreciate you being with us, supporting our programs, supporting our school system, and, of course, the main thing is supporting our students and our kids. And, Aaron, thank you for all the work you've done.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
For Mr. Hobbs and for Aaron Yates. My name's Kelly Jones, and this has been WZCO 89.9 and WZCO.org. East Columbus taking care of St. Paul's tonight. by a score of 60-18. So good night for East Columbus, and we hope that you will have a good night. Enjoy the weekend, and if you're listening to us on 89.9, you'll be returned to our regular programming in about 15 seconds. So thank you. Have a great night.